Good afternoon, students. This is Miss Gorman here to review our exit ticket and problem of the day. Remember that our learning target for this week was that I can solve two-step equations, okay? So this right here, our exit ticket problem equation was a two-step equation. So we have positive 5 plus 2n equals 25. Before I get started solving the problem, I want to point out what our coefficient is, our operation is, and our lonely number. Okay. So our coefficient is attached to our unknown variable. Our coefficient is 2, and that's going to also be our divisor. We know that our coefficients, when we are walking through two-step equations, our coefficient is always our divisor. Okay. Our operation is addition. That's important because when solving two-step equations in algebra, we need to know what our operation is so that we can apply the inverse operation in order to solve and complete the problem. Okay. And then our lonely number up here is positive 5. Nothing attached to it, right? Just a positive 5. That is the number we're going to begin manipulating. So when we're solving two-step equations, the first thing we want to do is delayer, if you will, our left side of the equation. The goal is to get the unknown variable by itself, and the unknown variable in this equation is our n. Okay, so we want to get rid of everything else on this side so that we can determine the value of n. All right, so first we're going to get rid of our positive 5, and we're going to subtract 5 from both sides to do so. We're applying the inverse rule, which is basically undoing an equation and applying the opposite operation to solve the problem. So we're going to take 5 away from 5 on this side, and then I like to put in my equal bar right away just to keep my numbers organized and my steps organized, so I encourage you to do the same thing. All right, so if I'm taking 5 away on this side, I know that in an equation, a two-step equation, I need to do the same thing on this side. I do the same thing on this side, I do that over here as well, just to keep my equation balanced. So I'm taking 5 away from here, and that also I'm going to take 5 away from this side of the equation. So when I take 5 away from this side of the equation, 5 away from positive 5, I get 0, which is good because that's the goal. We want to get rid of as many numbers as we can to determine the value of this unknown number, n. So we take 5 away from 5, that's 0. We bring down our 2n, our coefficient, and our unknown variables. We get 2n equals whatever 25 minus 5 is, which is, in fact, 20. All right. In the past, when I've taught you guys coefficients, I've also taught you the role of a coefficient in algebra. And the role of a coefficient in algebra is that it is, in fact, the divisor in the equation. So once we get to our second step, we have our coefficient right here. We are going to use this 2 as our divisor, and we're going to divide both sides by positive 2. Okay, so now I have my coefficient and my unknown variable, 2 and n, and I divided by my coefficient, which is 2. And then on this side of the equation, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide my number, which is 20, by my coefficient, which is 2. Okay. So I know that when I divide 2 by 2, I get 1, so that cancels each other out, and I have my unknown variable, n, all by itself, and that was the goal, right? We wanted to determine the value of n, and so now we have n all by itself. And when I divide 20 by 2, I'm going to get a quotient of 10, right? So after going through my entire equation, I determine, after going through all my steps, that n is, in fact, equivalent to 10. Hope that helps. Email me if you have any questions. Take care.